In the small, dusty town of Boston, during the 1700s, a young boy named Samuel Carter stood at the harbor, watching ships sail across the endless blue ocean. His eyes sparkled with curiosity, but his heart carried a heavy question. Can an ordinary man ever change the fate of a nation? At that time, America was not free. It was a cluster of colonies ruled by a distant king across the Atlantic. People worked hard, but had no say in their own lives. The British Crown decided what they should buy, what they should sell, and even how much tax they should pay. Every cup of tea, every loaf of bread carried a price of obedience. Samuel's father worked as a blacksmith. His hands were strong, his back bent, but his spirit unbroken. Every night, while the fire from the forge glowed, he told Samuel, "Freedom, my boy, is not given, it's earned." Those words sank deep into Samuel's heart. As Samuel grew older, he joined a group of young men who secretly met at night. They called themselves the Sons of Liberty. Their leader, a fierce man named Samuel Adams, spoke with thunder in his voice. "If we don't stand for ourselves today, our children will kneel forever." Those words were not just speeches, they were fuel. Soon, the Boston Tea Party happened. Men disguised as Native Americans threw boxes of British tea into the sea, refusing to pay unfair taxes. Samuel was there, his hands trembling as he lifted a crate, knowing one act of courage could cost his life. The next morning, British soldiers marched into the streets. The tension grew, and so began the American Revolution. Samuel joined the Continental Army, led by General George Washington. He wasn't a warrior by birth, he was a blacksmith's son. But when destiny calls, even ordinary men turn into heroes. The winters were brutal. At Valley Forge, the soldiers shivered in thin clothes, hungry and weak. Some gave up, some died, but Washington never surrendered. One night, he stood before his men and said, "Gentlemen, the harder the conflict, the greater the triumph." Those words lit a fire in their souls. Samuel clenched his fists. "If our ancestors had courage to live as slaves," he whispered, "we can have courage to die as free men." When the final battle ended in 1781, and the British surrendered at Yorktown, tears rolled down Samuel's face. The dream his father once spoke of had come true. America was free. Years passed. Samuel became an old man. He opened a small shop in Philadelphia where people came not just to buy tools, but to hear stories of the Revolution. One evening, a young boy asked him, "Sir, was it worth it? All the pain, the hunger, the loss?" Samuel smiled softly. "Freedom always costs more than it looks, but once you taste it, you can never live without." He then placed his hand on the boy's shoulder and said, "Remember, freedom is not about flags or wars. It's about the courage to stand for what's right, even when you stand alone." Centuries later, another man carried that same dream forward, Martin Luther King Jr. He stood on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and declared, "I have a dream." His dream was not about breaking chains of a foreign king, but about breaking the silent chains of injustice within. Just like Samuel, Dr. King believed that no one is truly free until everyone is free. People marched, shouted, and sang for equality. Some were beaten, some were jailed. But the dream lived on, stronger than bullets, louder than hate. In the 21st century, that same fire burns in every corner of America. Through the scientist who refuses to give up on a cure, through the immigrant working 2 jobs to feed his family, through the young woman breaking barriers in technology, through the soldier standing guard under a flag of stars and stripes. Every one of them is a reflection of Samuel's spirit. a reminder that freedom is not a gift of history. It is a duty of every generation. One night, a storm rolled across Boston Harbor again. The waves crashed just like they had centuries ago. A statue of a young man stood near the water, his face carved in stone, his eyes toward the horizon. Below it, the words were engraved. Freedom began with a whisper, but it lives through every heart that dares to dream. And somewhere across time, Samuel Carter's voice echoed. Dream big, fight hard, and never forget. The dream of America was never about perfection. It was about progress. Moral of the story: freedom is not given, it's earned every day through courage, unity, and hope.